Today, I am going to be showing you guys this Carmelo Anthony build that gets a 98 mid-range shot on NBA 2K24. And with that being said, that means you're going to get access to Hall of Fame blinders, Hall of Fame catch and shoot, Hall of Fame deadeye, Hall of Fame post-fade phenom on this Melo build, and you're going to be absolutely insane. But if you don't want that 98 mid-range, I'm actually going to be showing you guys two versions of this build. One that gets 98, one that gets a little bit lower, so you can invest your attributes somewhere else. But with all that out of the way, man, let's get started. Let's go. All right, so let's start off with this 98 midi Carmelo Anthony build. We're going to be going small forward, height 6'7", wingspan 6'7", weight 197 pounds. But I would like to point out that you don't have to go with that weight, and you could up the weight a little bit if you want to get a different body shape, which is something I do recommend since Carmelo Anthony was a little bit more of a stocky type of player. All right, so when it comes to the finishing, we're going to get you an 80 driving layup, which is going to get you pro touch on Hall of Fame. You're also going to get a 75 driving dunk, which is going to get you a bunch of really great dunk packages. And then lastly, an 85 post control, which is going to get you a bunch of really good post scoring badges, which include post fade phenom on Hall of Fame. But now let's take a look at some of these finishing clips. Man, listen, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this Carmelo build is tough to guard. You're a 3-level scorer. You could score out of the post, and you could drive to the rim and get nice dunks like that. There's just something about these type of builds that could score really well in the midi, the 3-point area, and also have a really good post game that are just super hard to guard. And take a look at that right there. That little spin move I did to spin off of him, that was physical handles. If you guys don't know how physical handles works, it's actually really interesting. When somebody initiates contact with you, you could do a dribble move to basically shove them out of the way. And there's a lot of different moves you could do. You could do the spin move like you saw there. You could tap RT and kind of get a blow by stiff arm animation, but there's just a lot of different things to try. All right, so now moving on to the shooting, like I mentioned in the intro, this build is going to have a 98 mid-range shot, which is going to get you so many shooting badges: guard up Hall of Fame, blinders and deadeye Hall of Fame, open looks Hall of Fame, catch and shoot Hall of Fame, midi magician Hall of Fame, post fade phenom on Hall of Fame. There's just a crazy amount of badges you're going to get by upgrading your mid-range shot this high that it's actually going to help you be a better 3-point shooter as well. But speaking of that 3-point shot, we're going to get an 86 3-pointer, which is going to get you agent threes on silver, bronze, limitless range, pretty much all the other badges that I listed as well. And again, Hall of Fame catch and shoot. But now let's take a look at some of these shooting highlights. Man, right here, we're in the post, hitting with the shimmy into the post hop shot. You know that's going to be wide open. That's going to be cash, man. Let me tell you something. That 98 midi out of the post is some scary stuff. And look at that triple threat spin into the midi fade. We're kind of moving like Carmelo, hit the little fade right here as well. That fade is going to be your money. It's going to be your bucket every single time because it is so easy to get to when you have such a high midi that even if they do contest it, you're still more than likely going to make it. And midis in general are just so much easier to hit this year, which is why it's so good to have a high mid-range on your build. And you're still going to be a threat out at the 3-point line, but back in the post right here, hit him with the double spin into the turnaround fade. He's cold, bro. He's not stopping nothing at this point. And again, man, there's just something that is super deadly about having a build that can dominate in the post. Oh, look at that ankle breaker into the wide open 3, and that is cash. All right, let me bring that back. Like I said, there's something about being able to score at all 3 levels on a build that just makes it super hard to guard, and then having a good post game on top of that too. That's just really hard stuff to guard, man, because not only am I asking my defender to be good guarding me out on the perimeter, but I'm asking him to have good post defense as well. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, most people do not have good post D. Look at this right here. Hit a 31% contested midi. Comment down below if that should have even been a 31% contest, because me personally, I think that was an open, but hey, that's just me, man. You know, look at this right here. He's pressing me super high. We just kind of speed boost right past him. He's thinking I'm driving. We just hit him with the midi fade. That's the other thing too with these midi fades, bro. Most people you're going to play, they're going to give you that midi because they want to protect the paint, and it's just going to be so open. Even though it's become the meta at this point, people still give up that wide open midi, which is going to allow you to get so many really good shots. And God, that was such a clean shot. The little spin jumper right there. But, you know, all right, so last 2 clips right here. Again, in the triple threat, hit him with a little triple threat cross right there. Spin into the midi fade. It's just easy. It's easy. It's just that easy, bro. If they're not playing you super high, you're going to be able to hit midis at a crazy rate. Hit him with the spin into the spin fade. Oh my goodness. Took him into the spin cycle. But now let's talk about the playmaking. All right, so now when it comes to the playmaking on this build, we're going to go with a 69 pass accuracy, which is going to get you a couple of really good passing badges on bronze. We're going to go with a 91 ball handle, which is going to get you handles for days on gold. Now, if you really do want to, you could drop this build down to 6'6", get a 92 ball control, up to speed speed with ball even higher and get gold speed booster. But I just don't think I was going to be able to do that on this type of build. I really wanted to go the tallest height possible to still get the 98 midi, which is why I went 6'7". All right, but now let's take a look at some of these playmaking highlights and listen. 69 pass accuracy is going to be serviceable. And again, look at that right there. That's that physical handles in work. He's trying to initiate a lot of contact with me, and you could kind of just spin off of him. And in that clip, I only had physical handles on silver, so you can only imagine when you had that badge on Hall of Fame, which I do have on this build. And look at the bailout pass. Throwing bailout passes with a 69 pass accuracy. I don't know how consistent that is, but I was able to do it once. Now let's talk about the ball handle rating when it comes to the playmaking, man. Listen, that 91 ball handle, you're going to get a lot of really good dribble animations. Some of my personal favorites are Kobe Bryant's size up escape package, John Wall step back, as you saw right there. And again, man, you're just going to get a lot of dribble animations, which is really nice to have on a Melo build. It's going to make you super deadly in the post, and then you can dribble as well. It's just some hard stuff to guard. But look at this right here. Relocate top of the key after the rotation. Then they're going to rotate again. We dot the opposite corner, and it's a bucket. But now let's take a look at the defense. And man, listen, I had a lot of offense on this build, and Carmelo Anthony is not a good defender. And if somebody in the comments tells me that Carmelo Anthony is a good defender, I might actually have a stroke. But here's what we're going to have on this version of the build. A 75 perimeter defense, which will get you clamps on silver, and a 60 defensive rebound, which will get you rebound chaser on silver. And again, this is a offensively overpowered build, okay? If you want to make a more well-rounded build, I will show that in just a moment. But understand, with how much offense I had on this build, I can only go with some very mid defense. But now here's a look at the build fully maxed out. You're going to get an 81 speed, 73 acceleration, an 84 strength, which is going to get you access to that physical handles on Hall of Fame. And one really important thing as well, make sure your stamina is a 96. You can get handles for days on Hall of Fame. Now that is this version of the build, okay? We really wanted to go out of our way to get that 98 mid-range shot, which meant we had to sacrifice a lot of things in other areas. But if you don't want to do that, you can make this version of the build right here, which is a much more well-rounded version of the build. You're going to get more rebounding, more block, a little bit more defense. You're going to have a little bit less of a ball control. This build is 6'8" compared to the other version, which is 6'7". You're also going to have less midi, but you're going to have more post control in exchange. You're actually going to get that gold unpluckable, post spin technician Hall of Fame, dream shake Hall of Fame. And if I'm going to be honest with you guys, I kind of recommend this version of the build over the other one, but both versions of the build are going to be really good. And just to clarify, both versions of these builds are a slightly older version of Carmelo. It's more of like a New York Knicks Carmelo Anthony. You know, he doesn't really dunk as well. He can still boom and he can still get contact dunks, especially if you get slashing takeover. And you know, you still have that deadly mid-range shot. Yeah, now again, man, if I were you guys, I recommend you make this version of the build. I'm not entirely sure how valuable that 98 mid-range shot is, especially when you're kind of just playing casually. I can see the value of it if you're playing like in super competitive pro-am and you're going up against the best locks in the world and you need that high midi. But if you're just playing casually, I think that 93, 92 midi is going to be just enough to get the job done. Yeah, no, overall, man, this build was super fun to make. It was super fun to play on. And now let's take a look at the build name. All right, so now when coming out of the My Player Builder, you're going to get the comparisons of Chris Middleton, Bruce Brown, and Brandon Ingram, and you're going to get the build name 3-level threat. Now, if you made the other version of the build, the 6'7", you're going to get the name shot creating 3-level threat. But that's going to be it for today's video, man. I'm out. Peace.